Welcome again to another edition of the Church Solutions Podcast.
My name is Steve Lacy.
And I'm Phil Thompson. I always say edition, but I guess the correct terminology with these podcasts would be episode.
Yes.
Right? So another episode 330 is the episode according to Apple Podcasts. But you can get this podcast on any place that you find your favorite podcast. Steve, how are you today?
Doing just wonderful.
All right. It's another day in paradise. That's kind of an overused term, but it is really nice here in Arizona, right? Very pretty. Yes. Very nice.
We
today.
I was recently in a meeting with some new people, and you had to go around the room and say how you are personally and how you are professionally. And I use that. I'm living the dream personally. So
yeah, things are great personally with me, and business-wise, things are good. So
yeah,
we're doing well. So, folks,
they transition back and forth, right? I mean, the reason that my personal is really good is because I'm working for myself and working from home.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, but I mean, your personal, we won't get into it, but your personal life. I mean, there's things that can be. They all kind of interact, but. I can have a rough day, so to speak, on the job, but I can still have a good personal life. I don't know. Yeah. That's just my perspective. So,
yep.
But anyhow,
all right. So far, I'm healthy. So that's
good. That's important. Health is very important. So, all right. So we're not too far away from Easter if you're listening to this episode. And even if you're not, what we have to say here today applies anytime, but specifically, on big events, but any event you have when you're going to do streaming. We're going to talk about streaming, and the official title is Easter is almost here. Is your streaming ready?
Easter is the 17th. Is it?
Yeah, April 17th. Yeah, April 17th.
All right.
So it's almost here.
Yeah, just a few weeks away.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't matter when you're listening to this podcast or watching us on YouTube or on streamingchurch.tv's website. You can use this information that we're going to talk about. We've actually talked about it before, but you can use it anytime. And by the way, if you missed last week's podcast, we didn't really do one officially, but we did do a webinar. And it was about really getting the most out of your streaming video. And it was how to really simple steps, 4 easy steps to really getting the most out of your streaming video to help your ministry grow. That webinar was recorded and it's available. It's only about 30 minutes. It's available at streamingchurch.tv. Just go to the info section and look at Church Solutions Podcast. And we've got it in there, the video part, because it's really a video thing. We share images and screens and stuff on how to help your video.
Did you see the recent statement from that ministry that's interested in using our services?
I did not. I didn't.
Oh, I don't know if it's tech lead or pastor or what. They said they have grown their church from 200 to 1,000 in 2 years, primarily through, he said, Google. So I definitely want to talk with him and find out how, because those are really remarkable growth rates.
Those are big numbers, huge.
Yeah,
numbers.
and he said primarily through Google was his main growth avenue. So anyway, just kind of goes to show you that digital can have an impact on your ministry.
It really
I'm sure
can.
He's doing other things really right as well, but he was crediting Google, which is very interesting.
Well, yeah, and we could probably do that on another podcast. The thing about the webinar we did last week is it's really good for anybody that's doing any streaming video, no matter what level you're at. So check it out, streamingchurch.tv. Just click on the info tab, and you'll see a little drop down that says Church Solutions Podcast, and it's not an official podcast, but it is on video, and then also you can see us on YouTube if you look for streamingchurch.tv. So today, I thought it would be good for us to look at some things to review so that you're ready for your next streaming event, and especially Easter, because that's obviously Easter is one of the most attended. People attend church mostly on Christmas, but also on Easter. Easter is the second most, I think, attended, and it's going to carry over online. it's going to carry you over on your streaming. So shall we jump into it?
Yes.
All right.
So we have the 10 commandments here, right?
Yeah, they really the 10 commandments. We've shared these before, but it's worth repeating.
Yes. So number 1, always test.
Always test. So what we mean by that is
right before you're ready to go live, just go and test, 2-3 minutes before you're
yeah, just turn it on and hope it works. Yeah, we're not talking about testing your AV team with questions. We're talking about testing the equipment here. And look, things happen. I mean, when I was at your church doing the streaming video, we always said there was these gremlins that would pop up out of nowhere. It would just show up Sunday morning and there'd be a problem with the sound or a problem with the video or a problem with the encoder. And I don't know why, but that tends to happen a lot of times in churches. But really, you should do some testing. And as Steve just mentioned, he's being facetious. Don't wait to the last second to test. You really should do it. Give yourself plenty of time. And I know this is so hard for people, but especially if you're a volunteer, but you really need to get to church early and get the equipment fired up and begin to run some tests and test everything.
At our church, we do a run through several hours before the service of the complete service. And so we've got everyone all manning their different stations and stuff. And this past weekend, the camera guy showed up a little late, and then all of a sudden everything stopped working. All the computer screens went black, and there was a mad panic. It was right in the middle of the worship set. We have big TVs on stage, and they all went black, and the person driving the presentation software, his screen went black. And so a major scramble around what was going on. And the cameraman joked, he said, he goes, man, I show up and everything breaks. And then about 20 minutes later, they figured out that the cameraman had actually bumped into a connector on the wall and pulled everything out.
Yeah.
Didn't realize he had done it, but yes, he had took everything down. Took him a little while to figure it out and have a reboot and reconnect.
Yeah, it's a struggle. And the struggle was real, as they say. But, one of the things I have learned over the years, and this is hard not to do, but don't panic. And it's hard. It's so against nature, because all of a sudden you're like running around. Oh my God, what are we going to do? And we're running around with our hair on fire. But if you can try to remain calm and breathe, it sure helps process things. And a lot of times you can do your troubleshooting can be much more effective when you're calm and just trying to walk through, okay, what happened here? What's going on here? But
and then 20 minutes later, all the audio went out for our remote broadcast. We had a remote thing going where it was a mess. And I accurately predicted that we had every gremlin we could during our test period, and everything went fine during the service.
Well, good. Well, that's good that it was during your test. So that's really good.
While we were testing.
Yeah, good point to test. Yes. And let me also bring up not just testing equipment, and we're talking microphones and audio and by the way, next week I think we'll talk about how to improve your audio, but also test your internet. You should test your upload speed, especially. And with us, we have a link that we send people to. It's called speed.streamingchurch.tv. I don't know why that's so hard for me. I always want to say test, but it's stream.streamingchurch.tv. And then we have servers all over the place, but most of the ones would be Atlanta. And you can actually click on that link and then scroll down a little bit under where it says start test, and you can choose the server, and you want to go Atlanta. And then really what you want to look for is your upload speed. And I would do multiple tests. I would do 2 or 3, within the first minute or two, just to see how things are. But internet can still be flaky at times. And so it never hurts to do a speed test, and you should always do one. Yeah.
All right. I guess we spent a lot of time on this one. We pick up the pace.
Yes, we should. I guess we should.
Number 2.
Yeah. So number 2, meet greet, and pray with attendees. Meet, greet, and pray with attendees. What do we mean by that?
We mean that just like you do in person, where you meet and greet and pray with your people that come, you want to do the same for the online audience. The online audience is not a passive sit back and watch the TV piece, but you want to participate with those that are attending online as well.
Yeah. And of course, this presupposes that you have a chat platform, streamingchurch.tv, which is us. We actually give you that option. That's really the default option, is a video and chat, although you could do video only. But we really recommend chat, and that's because you want to connect with your people. You want to connect with your viewers, and so take the time to do that. This is part of really the 10 commandments of streaming here. Pray with them, make this available. And also, I would also add that if your speaker, your senior pastor, whoever is speaking that day, if they can greet people, they normally, you walk up the platform, you say, hi, how are you? Good morning. Welcome everybody to whatever church, but then also specifically address the online attenders.
Yes, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does. It helps that. So meet, greet, and pray with them. You can pray with them. You can offer links. We prayer request, connection cards, those kind of things, digital connection cards, all that stuff you can do, and it will really help with your streaming experience.
All right. Number 3 is follow up.
Follow up, kind of connected in a way. You should, just like you would in your regular facility, when people walked in the door, hopefully you've given them an opportunity to fill out something, and you want to be able to connect with them, follow up with them, see if they have any needs, see if what they thought of the service, see if there's any feedback, help them in any way. You can do that digitally. You can do that online as well at streamingchurch.tv. We actually have an automatic follow-up system that everybody has, no matter what plan you have, and you can work on that a little bit, or you can put in your own digital connection card, so to speak, on the platform and link it somewhere, and you can follow. But follow-up is very important. Let people know you appreciated that they attended your online service. And again, as we echoed earlier, what are their needs? How can you help them? How can you pray for them? Very important. Follow-up is very important when it comes to the 10 commandments of streaming.
Yes. Number 4, make streaming video easy to find.
Yeah, we covered this a lot, Mike and I, on the webinar, last week. And we do this all the time. Steve and I and others on our team here will pop in on churches streaming on the weekends just to see how they're doing. And many times we go to their website, it's like, where's the link? How do I get to the streaming platform? I mean, we have multiple ways people can do that, but you can embed the platform on your website, or you can put a link on your website. And unfortunately, a lot of churches hide it, and it makes it hard for people to find the online community.
Yeah. So make it obvious and be redundant in how you get to it.
Yeah.
Stick it in the menus, create a button, do whatever you can. So it's a key destination for your visitors.
Yeah, absolutely. So make your streaming video easy to find. Number 5, which I kind of touched on already, I guess earlier. I got ahead of myself, but when you're doing streaming video, those who are on the platform where the camera's on them, address the online community. I mentioned this earlier, but it doesn't have to be just the pastor. It could be the worship leader, somebody making announcements, maybe, if you carry announcements on your stream, let them know, let the people know that are watching online, hey, we know you're there. We acknowledge you. We appreciate the fact that you're watching today, and we want to be available to you. It gives the church, the people sitting in the building, it helps them understand that there's a bigger picture to what, it's not just what's happening there in that facility, but it's happening in many cases globally, a much bigger picture. And it helps them get behind what you're trying to do as a vision, for a vision and mission of your church.
Yes. Number 6, equip members to invite.
Equip your members to invite.
Yeah, I like the stat here. 80% of all first-time attenders came to church because someone invited them.
Yeah. It's so important.
Yeah. So make it easy for those that are watching online to invite others to join online. And we're actually exploring a new feature that is going to make that even easier, I think. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
People can do that on, again, not self-glossing here, but I guess we are. I mean, our platform, it's easy for people to share the link to the stream through email. They just click on a button on the platform. You can share the link in an email you want to send to your friends. You can share a link on your Facebook page, on your Twitter account. There's lots of ways we make it easy. And in the future here, it might be even easier yet for people to actually share the actual live stream on their page. So lots of good opportunities for people. But again, as the stat said, first time people come because somebody invited them. And so, invite them. It's much easier for people to actually show up to an online event than they will in person. And you've told the story many times of one of your friends that showed up at a church years ago and it was a terrible experience for him, or not a very pleasant one for him anyhow, very uncomfortable for him. And that's unfortunately common, but people can get an idea of what your church is like by watching the live stream.
Right. All right. Number 7, create online goals and measure results.
Yeah. You're good at this stuff, Steve. Elaborate a little bit more on goals and measure results. You're really good.
Well,
at that. There's,
I am a kind of a numbers guy, and I think it's important to establish some growth goals and then to track yourself to how those goals are doing, and then also to take action and see how your action influences those numbers. So it's a good way to figure out how to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow, whatever you may be doing here, but especially for ministry, you can find that, hey, when, and look at things and tune and leverage those things to try to reach more people.
What would be a good example of somebody for an online goal? So say I'm overseeing my streaming video department at my church. What would be a nice goal to start with?
Oh, I don't know. It depends how aggressive you want to be, but it would be good to maybe double over the coming year your online audience.
Okay.
That may be a little ambitious, but and then put together some plans for how you're going to go about doing that. You're going to be more active in inviting people. You're going to do some of the things that we're talking about here, and implement those. Or maybe you're going to go a paid advertising route. I mentioned at the start of this, the church had grown their ministry through Google. I assume it's through paid marketing, local, but that could be another route. There's all kinds of ways to influence it. Or you may look at, when Susie leads worship, we get a lot more people showing up, and then when Larry leads worship or whatever.
Oh, now you're stepping on toes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Larry's not going to like that.
No, they won't like that one, but
or follow up. You could do a goal of follow up. Okay, how many people did we follow up? How can we follow up on 30% of the people that show up, or 40%? Yeah, you can do lots of different things.
Right. Exactly. All right.
All right. Number 8, right? Are we number 8 here?
We're at number 8.
Number 8 in the top 10 commandments of streaming. Use social media. Look, social media is here to stay in one form or another. There's lots of changes. There's different platforms that pop up all the time. But the bottom line is the actual social media thing it's here. So if you resist it or don't like it, well, you can feel that way about it, but it's still there. And so you can use it to leverage your growth. You can there's benefits, is what I'm trying to say, with social media campaigns, interacting with people on social media. You just mentioned earlier, Steve, you could even use paid social media tools out there. Facebook also has things you can use. You can actually target your area using Facebook and Google too, I guess. And so
and you can target a bunch of different ways, geographically, and other demographics. You're trying to reach young families and target people with kids and certain age groups. And so, there's ways to make sure if you are going to spend some money that you're doing it consistent with your goals.
The important thing to do is be consistent with it and interact with people. And we've talked about this. We've rung this bell quite a bit over the years, but you can't just post, you just can't post something. It's not just like a newsletter where you just post something and then walk away from it. I mean, you want to post something that will help people get interactive. They can respond to it, and then you need to respond to them. So it does take some energy, and you really should find somebody that really embraces that.
Yeah, I listened to a guy that does a podcast, and he was recommending his favorite platform is Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, let's say I got 15 followers on Twitter or 50 followers on Twitter. You can't just go and start posting stuff on Twitter and expect to build an audience. His recommendation was get involved with key people and comment on posts and start contributing to a group that's already good or already established, and to establish your reputation. And that's how you'll grow your social footprint. Yeah. So I know a lot of people, me included, have a very small social footprint right now, but that's the one way to get involved in something to grow your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's lots of resources out there now on how to use social media. Church Tech, is it churchtech.com? Is that, we've got some articles on Church Tech Today. It's Kenny Jong is now doing that. He's overseeing that area, but my point is there's lots of resources out there to effectively use social media.
Yes, exactly.
Church Tech Today, I think, is what it's called. So I should have looked that up earlier. All right. So number 9.
We had an article, actually 2 articles published there.
Yeah, we did. One is on mychurchdaily.com and another one on actually this thing we're talking about. And we did something else too, didn't we? I forget. But yeah, so Church Tech Today, good. Just Google it. Really good resources there. All right, number 9. Let's move on here. Another thing you should have when it comes to streaming, top streaming commandments, whatever we're calling this today, make giving easy.
Yes.
Or make it easy for people to give. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Right. So just like we talk about, it's hard. We have a hard time finding someone's online platform from their website. You need to make sure that the giving is easy to find and available for somebody that's wanting to give. So
yeah, it should be available. You should have it multiple places, and of course on your streaming platform. There should be an opportunity for people to give on that. If you don't have some kind of a link or button on your platform, maybe a link you could put in the chat. And there's lots of, a lot of people ask me, what's the best company to use so I can, there's lots of different ones out there now. I mean, we're kind of old school. We use PayPal, or I've used PayPal in the past, but every one of them kind of takes a little piece of the pie. But I have found my own life, like when my church years ago, I'm no longer on staff at a church, but when I introduced it to Give Online, our giving went way up. I mean, when people, and the reason was it was easy for people to give online, and nobody's using checks today. Well, not nobody, but very few people are writing checks. I know there are some that do, but there's giving online's a way to go, digital. So I guess what I'm saying is you got to pay a little bit for a service to do that, but it's worth it, I think, in the long run.
Yep, I agree.
All right. So make giving easier, make it easy for people to give. Let's go to number 10. Make
sure help is always available.
So we wrote this in reference to if you're streaming video, you should have a company that will help you with customer support. So if you have a problem on Sunday morning or Saturday night or whenever you do your stream or streams, whatever days you do streaming, you do multiple services, there should be a company that you choose that gives you great support, that's there for you, that answers their phone, that answers their emails, that ideally even has live chat. That you go to their website. Do you know any companies like that, Steve?
No, there's very few.
There's very few. There's one of them I'm thinking of right now. I can't remember their name. Streaming something. Streamingchurch.tv. They're a company that's really good with customer service. I'm being funny here, but that's us. But we really do pride ourselves. I mean, we're available Sunday mornings, live support on the phone, chat. email. We're available 7 days a week. So look, I'm not saying you should sign up for streamingchurch.tv, but I am. But look, whoever you choose, you don't want to be out there in the dark. I mean, there's one company I get complaints about all the time, and like, nobody ever calls me back. We're going to work with you guys instead. I'm sorry they don't call you back. That's a real bummer. I just think it's ridiculous that we've reached this age where some companies just don't care. Or whatever. They don't have customer service or something. Maybe they care, but they haven't figured out how to help people. But anyhow, so make sure help is available. And we talk about that as far as streaming. But also, even people at your church that are good with tech, maybe you have a team that's available. And so you're not just alone. You can have some people to help you. But anyhow, that's it. So Easter's coming. Easter is almost here. Is your streaming ready? Is your streaming ready? That's important. That's what we've been talking about today. So if we can help you in any way, please let us know. And by the way, check out mychurchdaily.com. It's a new product that we alluded to earlier here in this podcast, and you can be on Alexa devices. You can be on flash briefing devices. There's a ton of people on Alexa devices now. Amazon Echo and all that stuff. It's all over the world now. And I mean, a large group of people are on it now, millions. So why not have your church on there? You can have a flash briefing daily if you want it. And you can find out more about that by going to mychurchdaily.com. You got a free trial, and we'll help you every step of the way.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, we are done. Thank you very much, Mr. Steve Lacy.
I'm glad to be here.
And I'm Phil Thompson, and thank you for watching and listening to the Church Solutions Podcast. We'll catch you next time on another episode. Please take care of yourself and each other.